Lease purchase programs are not a path to small business and truck ownership. Let's talk about this. Hey guys, Patrick Nicholson, Big Rig Nation. Let's talk about what's happening in the trucking world over truck leasing. Many years ago, we've talked about this at your transportation experts. I used to get all these leases that came in from drivers, and I would sit there and I would read them and I'd look at all of them, and they were just horrible. They were terrible. And I would always tell drivers, you really need to think about what it is you're doing before you actually step into going into one of these leases, because what I'm looking at and what I'm reading is not very good for you. Okay, it's very bad. The reason why we are putting this information out here is because I don't think drivers still fully understand what is happening. The FMSCA actually went to the I say this all the time. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration went before Congress and asked them to stop all of truck leasing. This is a very big deal, okay? But we still get drivers every day reaching out and calling us and asking us, do we have any type of leasing options? And I tell them, if you're smart, the one of the biggest things you can do is run away as fast as possible. All right. So if you go and look at the findings that the federal government did, they actually went out and they checked these trucking companies, and it is mind boggling. They got a 51-page report now that you can actually go read, and it is thorough. I mean, it is crystal clear. 1 in 100 drivers actually are able to pay off their trucks, and this was only with certain companies. All right, this wasn't with everyone. Some of the loss rates was even worse than this. So what I'm trying to tell drivers, and if you're still out here reaching out to me about leases, is to stay away from them. They are not good. I don't care what kind of lease it is. I promise you, it is not in favor to you. These are some of the notes. I'm going to read these to you that came from this report, and it's really fascinating what they're talking about. It's very detailed. I mean, so detailed. I've never seen a report like this be as accurate as it actually is. Down to payments, insurance, even goes into depth in terms of like what drivers are having to be out in terms of repairs, even goes into detention pay, things that drivers are not getting. So when they built this task force, I've got to give my hats off to the government. They really did a good job this time because they really are listening, I feel like now. I wish they would have done this 30 years ago, whenever leasing started. You know, this has become such a popular way for companies to make money. But what is happening is I'm calling this legalized theft now. This is what I've always said. It is the legal theft in America, and it's a shame. Um, so what they have finally come to the conclusion, they said that these leases, they're established to enrich motor carriers at the expense of the drivers. Well, we already knew this. You know, they've been using us for a long time to be able to accomplish their end goals, which is make a profit for their company. It's sad that this has happened, and I don't know how many drivers in America this has actually hurt, but it would be, you know, I don't know if we'll ever find out the real numbers in terms of this, because this was a pretty big study and they still didn't even touch the tip of the iceberg. But there's a lot of people that has been the one thing that what they can say that this program done, or what they found out, was that this program alone, truck leasing, has pushed a lot of very, very good drivers out of our industry. And it's a shame. It has caused drivers to um, go broke. It's caused psychological issues for drivers. It has cost drivers everything that they have, that they own, because they were simply just lied to from the very beginning. The wording and things that are in these contracts is very misleading. They make you feel like that you are the owner, that you are going to have control of, yourself. I tell drivers all the time, don't be fooled by these types of verbiage because um, it's simply put, it's just a lie. I have drivers that reach out to me and say, well, the European trucking companies are the ones that's doing this, that's stealing everything from me. Well, no, that's not true either. I can tell you right now, there's a big American trucking company right here in the great United States. It's got the name Hurricane in it that is stealing everything from drivers. Um, I tell drivers all the time that when trucking companies are trying to put a brand new long hood 389 Peterbilt or a 589, and they're giving you a brand new reefer to run down the road, get ready. They're going to learn how to take all of your money. Not only did they go into depth with this, they actually reported their findings of what happened to certain drivers. There is this one instance, and it's a case right now. It's Roberts vs. Trans Am. It is. It was going on for 2.5 years. This case was with this driver driving for them. The driver literally made $686,000. $686,000 in 2.5 years while he worked at Trans Am. His take home in those 2.5 years working underneath these conditions was $82,000. That's $41,000 a year. That was his take home. Reading things like this and then it makes me almost want to cry. I If you've ever been an owner operator or been out here working to gross that kind of money, the work that this man has had to do is just it's shocking, to understand that we live in a country as great as ours is, and we're not protected by our government. We're not protected from these sorts of things happening to us. Truck drivers carry 67% of the domestic freight in our country. We are the backbone of the United States. Um, I feel like they should have done this a long time ago. I've been reporting about this over 3 years ago when I was your transportation experts. I was reporting this and trying to explain this to drivers, and we still just to this day I still get drivers every day wanting to do some type of lease purchases. Um, so lease purchase programs are not a path to truck ownership or going into business for yourself. Um, we want you to understand this, and if you really want to read this, I'm going to put a link in our page too where you can read this 51-page report from the government. They really did their work this time, and I can't believe that it's took them all these years to get here. I'm glad they've done it, but the next thing that we need to work on, and if you're listening to me, Mr. Government or Uncle Sam, let's work on broker transparency next. Okay, that's another big problem that we've got here in the trucking industry. I think if we can get some of this stuff worked out, we can make trucking even better for the younger generation that's coming into this. Um, it's we want people to understand um, that the trucking industry is a good industry to be in, that it is can be very good for you and your family. You can make a lot of money and be able to get ahead in life. Trucking has done a lot for me. I'm not saying that it's all been bad. I never let myself get into these types of situations, but everyone's different. It doesn't take a whole lot to trick or influence or hurt someone or give them misleading information for them to like you or to follow you. So, with that being said, I'm saying it one more time. Stay away from truck leasing. I don't care if it's a rental lease, if it's a truck lease. If you don't know anything about this, reach out to us here at Big Rig Nation, and I will personally sit down and talk with you about it. I will tell you the companies that are out here doing this that are hurting people. I don't care. More and more of this needs to come out. These trucking companies that are trying to do rental leases with you, these companies that are trying to do lease purchase with you, there is not a damn thing good about any of this. So, with that being said, reach out to me. Thank you for watching, and let's talk more about trucking.